In the last video, I was very excited and I was letting you know that I had got into a clinical trial. I'm on the trial. And I was very hopeful that it might be helpful in making my metastatic cancer decrease, because I've really started having limited options of what I can do now. This is the story of how those hopes and dreams crashed and burned. I've got footage of myself arriving in Brisbane. I was, in fact, a little bit excited. I had been told it's very early in the trial, so I would be given a very low dose. They didn't even know if I would feel any side effects from it when they were initially talking to me, because it would be such a low dose. I needed to be down in Brisbane for 3 days. Normally I probably would have travelled back and forward for that, but because I was on a trial, they paid towards accommodation, and that would be a lot more convenient. So because I was getting subsidised for that, I'd booked myself an apartment. On the Monday, I was supposed to start treatment. It was supposed to be an 8-hour day. Then for the next 2 days, I needed to be in there for about 45 minutes. I knew that it's a hospital, so when they say 45 minutes, I quite possibly could have been in there for 2 hours. But I thought, I've got my own apartment. After 2 hours or so, I can go back, I could read, I could go for walks down at South Bank, could go into the town, do a little bit of shopping. I was treating it like it was going to be a holiday. And it was not. I ended up in hospital all week, and when I left the apartment, which you will see on the Monday morning, I never got back there. My brother thankfully came down and checked me out of the apartment, and I'm a bit upset. I forgot to get some video footage of him, but when you're in hospital and all things are going on, you don't always think of getting the camera out, but I have got it out a few times. And yeah, but I think the next bit tells the story of what happened. Okay, I have just arrived. Oh, you can tell I'm in the city. I've just arrived at my accommodation for the start of this trial. There's a little bit of a kitchenette, little couch for myself, which I did want. There's a balcony, and there's my bedroom. So this is actually Ronald McDonald House. There's the Mater Children's Hospital. Look down there towards South Bank, and very conveniently, opposite, oh sorry, looking down, making sure I'm not going to drop the camera. That is where I have to go tomorrow. So that's going to be very easy to get to. And the next building up is the Mater Hospital that I stayed at after the stent was removed. So you can see Ronald McDonald House Playground. So altogether, very convenient. I'm just seeing if I can see the river. I definitely cannot. It'll be a nice walk down to South Bank, and hopefully I can grab some dinner there tonight. So here we go. Have I got light somewhere? There's my bedroom. Hope it won't be too loud. And of course important, the bathroom. And me, all set for kicking cancer's butt, let's call it that. And one last convenience that I've just discovered in that little cupboard thing is a little laundry. So I just might make sure all my clothes are clean before I go home, so I don't have to do as much at home. Okay, I am going to get my dinner late. I wanted to watch The Block. Anybody else want to watch The Block? Anyway, that meant when I got here the light of my car wasn't working. It wasn't turning off. Anyway, eventually did, but it meant I was a bit behind schedule. So anyway, go and get some dinner. Okay, I should have filmed something earlier. Sorry, I'm doing stuff. I'm getting ready to go. I need to be across the road in 5 minutes. Deciding what book to bring. Yeah, that one and that one. It has been so disappointing. The shower is not working. I'll show you, no, I should show you now. So I haven't been able to have a shower last night or this morning. I am a night and morning showering person. Let me show you. So when I go to open the shower, it is getting caught there. Then I thought maybe it's opening this way, but then it catches and yep, no, sorry, I'm just trying again. Going, was I being unreasonable? And I really can't fit through the door. Then when you, I think it's even catching down the bottom there, but you can tell there's a big gap there compared to nothing up there. You can tell it gets bigger, the gap, as it gets to the bottom. Anyway, okay. Just got my last couple of things. I'm terrified that I will forget the key because I am very scatterbrained. That's something for another video. And Alex normally does all stuff like this, and I realised when I talked to a single friend that I've never stayed by myself before in an accommodation. So, yes, don't want to forget. So yeah, very glad it is just over the road. And I don't think with all the shower drama, and I rushed down to Woolworths this morning and bought some breakfast and snacks and fruit. Haven't had time to be nervous or anything. So yeah, just trusting the process and that it's all going to go well. So it's right there, but I just need to get across the road. Oh, here we go, here's a break. Okay, the transfusion is underway. Let me see if you can. It has been a morning of drama. They, first of all, told me that the bloods that I went to get done on Saturday had got lost. They didn't know where it was. Later on in the day, I got a phone call from Sullivan Nicolaides saying they didn't know where it was. They got lost in transport and they have no explanation. So that's annoying. So I had to get more bloods done, except when they went to put it in the cannula, my vein collapsed, as it is wont to do. Then they got somebody else to try and do it, couldn't find a vein, and then when they found a vein, it collapsed before even the needle went in. So thank goodness it was before the needle went in. So then I had to go over to Queensland X-ray at the Mater again, another time urgent, and they did an ultrasound of my veins. And then it turns out that they've used a bit of a funny vein, but anyway, it had to use a very deep vein to find a good vein. My veins are really tiny, and they could find one on the top, but it was tiny and they didn't want to use that. Used a deep vein, but when they came back here, they were like, oh, that's a funny vein to use, but they really couldn't find too many. And then it also wasn't flowing properly. So we came back, took all the bloods that we needed, which was great, but then they needed to take another lot of bloods, and the blood was not flowing again, so that was more things.
Yes, so I have been putting in requests to get another porta put in, or at least a PICC line. So we'll see what happens there.
After I had made this video, and you could see I was feeling quite upbeat, I was feeling absolutely fine, I was sitting there. Now, before I'd come in, they said that it was going to be a low dose and it was quite possible I wouldn't feel much at all. When I got in there, they'd said, look, the first person who had been on the trial had felt a bit nauseous on day 2s and 3s. Her blood, no, what had they said? She felt a bit nauseous and her neutrophils had a drop, but then they bounced back, and she had some temperatures. So be aware that that might happen. So after I'd filmed that, I was editing a video, in fact, and I just stopped. I'm like, just not feeling 100%, and I don't feel like I'm concentrating properly. So I put it away, and I was just sitting there, and then I started thinking, I'm not feeling well. And I was nervous because I thought, oh, what if this trial isn't working for me? And whatever, and should I say anything? And then it became apparent, no, I'm really not feeling well. So after this point where you have seen that I was talking, and then I got to the point where I wasn't feeling well, I then had a big vomit and things started going really badly. And I ended up getting on oxygen. I looked like this. I'm not sure if I was gaining colour by that stage, because they said that I had gone completely white, that my lips had a bluish tinge, and I just was not looking well. And this is where things ended up.
Okay, so this is the second day after the clinical trial drug, and beeps happening in ICU. I'm feeling a bit happier than previously because I've just been able to have a shower, so that's been great. I was able to walk to the shower myself, which they said it doesn't normally happen in ICU, but I was very grateful that I could, because I didn't have a shower when I arrived because the shower screen was broken at the apartment. The only thing is, I wish there was somebody to run my undies, which are just on the other side of the road, across to me, so I could have had a fresh set of undies. But anyway, I think it might have been better than wearing the disposable pair the hospital offered. I am a lot better than I was yesterday, and I am waiting for the doctor, and I'm expecting to be moved on from ICU up to the ward soon, and I'm hoping that once I get to the ward I won't have to stay there for very long, and maybe I'll be over at the apartment tonight. We shall see. I think I have to get some bloods taken and obs taken at 1:30, so I'm hoping after that maybe things will all be a little bit more calmed down. I was just sitting there after the infusion thinking, I'm not feeling great, but you know when just kind of not feeling great, you're not sure whether it's in your head or whatever, because they said, oh, you know, the other person that's had it, ouch, I've got this horrible cannula in that's hurting. The other person that's had it had a bit of nausea on day 2 and 3. So I was like, oh, did they tell me that? And now I start feeling nauseous. But then after a while I was like, no, I really am feeling nauseous. So I said something to someone. So they went to give me something for that. But it wasn't very long later that I had a humongous spew, which was a bit awkward because the nurse had gone and I didn't know where their spew bags were. In my hospital in Toowoomba, they're just hanging on walls everywhere. But anyway, I had to clean it up. Got me a spew bag, spewed a few more times, but then it all got funky with my temperature was rising. I was getting a lot of pain in my stomach and at the top of my legs. which they said, and my lower back, it was just like a band all around that area. They said that was probably my body reacting to the treatment, and yeah, my blood pressure was not good, so they just sat me there for ages because the pain was quite severe in my abdomen. They gave me morphine, which always makes me really out of it. So they just sat me there for a while, but apparently all my stats were not looking good, and they realized it was gone into toxic shock. So from there, they ended up putting me into ICU, which I've done really well in overnight. Got a lot of sleep here, so that was good. So yeah, I'll wait for my doctor and see what happens. Okay, I'm still in ICU, but I think after 1 o'clock they're going to move me. But I've just found out that it's a 4-bed bay, so that's disappointing. I'll lose my privacy.
From that point, I did go onto the ward, and as I suspected, it was very loud, and it didn't help that I had a lady in the bed next door to me who was deaf and dramatic. So I've got a little bit, I don't obviously have footage of her, but I've got a little bit more footage of my time in hospital, but I think I'll leave that for another day. And you're updated now that I don't know what is happening further, but the clinical trial sadly is over for me. When I talked to my doctor, he said, well, you can't be ending up in ICU after every treatment. So yeah, next week I will return to Brisbane and we'll see if we can get a plan for the future, but that's all a bit uncertain right now. But yep, sometime next week I'll try and get the next part of the video out of the remainder of my time in hospital. Thank you so much for just supporting me by watching this. Thank you for the people that make kind comments. It really is a journey that's up and down, and just makes a bit of a difference when you know that there's other people out there in the world, all over the world, watching and caring and praying and sending good wishes. So please keep doing that, and stay tuned for the next episode in my Cancer Chronicles. Bye.